Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kayla and today I am starting my NCCT prep study series for my channel. So if you are new here, also I have been a phlebotomist for almost 14 years now, and I have a series that's coming up along with this that has to do with me talking about my journey and how I got here. And anyway, it's a makeup get ready with me if you want to watch it. I just talk about my experiences, where this came from, how I got here, and where my experience has started. So I just started that with episode 1. You guys will be able to view that in a couple of days here, but I am starting off by helping you get through the NCCT. So, and this is based solely on what I've learned for the state of California. So I know that a lot of states also have the same requirements for the NCCT, so this applies to all states that require the NCCT as a state requirement or as state licensing requirement as well. So I have been like I said, a phlebotomist for about 14 years now, and I have been teaching almost half of those years now. So I got majority of my experience at the beginning of my healthcare phlebotomy career, and I have worked in hospitals, outpatients, clinics, you name it, I've worked there. So I've also done mobile phlebotomy as well. So today I am starting off with me teaching jobs with this book right here. This is the complete book of phlebotomy, the 4th edition. So if you guys are looking for this book, you could probably find it on eBay as well. So yeah, that's the book that I'm going off of today. And so these chapters are not in order because that's not the way that I taught, and I'm going off of notes that I have taken throughout the years to give you guys the best of what I know. So here is episode 1, and starting off with chapter 2. This is safety in phlebotomy and the objectives of this chapter, so that you are aware of what we are going to be learning in this specific series for chapter 2. So I'm going to be doing it based off of chapters. I'm not going to do the entire chapter per episode, but I am going to be basing it off of increments that I feel like go well together, and I'm going to try to keep the videos short and sweet so that you can take your time watching through them and going through each specific topic that I'm going to give you. Okay, so chapter 2, the first part is going to be, and I have my book in front of me and I'm going off of notes as well, so this is exactly how I would do this if I was in class or if I was teaching online as well. I have done both, so bear with me. Your first objective is going to be identifying rules and safety that promote safety of the individual and the patient. And we're going to be able to explain the principle and procedures for infection control. And we're also going to be able to describe the proper hand washing technique and when to use it. Okay, so identifying your rules for safety that promote the individual and the patient. Your infection control is going to be based off of your universal precautions, which is a principle to protect healthcare associates from infections as well as a result to exposure body fluids, a term now replaced by standard precautions. So these are standard precautions. Back in the day, which wasn't too long ago, they didn't have very many standard precautions. So the actual phlebotomy license, if you're not aware, has only been around for about 20 years or less. Before that, you could just be a phlebotomist and be trained at your facility. All right, so our first safety that we're gonna go by is gonna be your actual standard precautions and what they are there for and the reason why we need them. So your standard precautions are gonna be washing your hands, wearing gloves, and washing your hands again, and then taking your gloves off for the next patient, as well as changing the needle every single patient, and you're going to be throwing them into the sharps container. So that is what your universal precautions are, and that would be your standard precautions. Okay, so maintaining a safe work environment is the primary responsibility for every healthcare worker. We want to make sure that our patients are safe and they feel comfortable when they are getting a procedure done, whether it be something small or even drawing blood like we do. Standard precautions are going to be they need to be formalized as a means of protecting yourself and the patient. So your standard precautions are going to be more to protect yourself than it is the patient, because we want to make sure that we're safe doing our job as well as the patient feeling safe while we do our job. So with that being said, you want to make sure that your patients are treated as if they have an infectious disease. I always tell my new students that if they are able to treat every patient like that, you normally will not have any problem with making sure that nothing happens to you, like a needle stick or anything along the lines of that, and you can make sure that they're safe as well. The next part we're going to talk about is the chain of infection, which comes along with your standard precautions. So this is the way that infections are spread, but if we take precautions, then they're not going to be as easily susceptible to that, okay? So number one is your source. So that would be your people, your equipment, and the water. Number two is going to be your susceptible host. So an immunodepressant patient, which is usually a patient that is very sick or a patient that is going to be in isolation or a patient on chemo. Those are immunodepressant patients. Your diabetic patients and your burn patients. So both of those people have lower immunities, and the reason burn patients do is because they don't have skin to protect them from infections getting inside, and that's the reason why our skin is here, is to protect us from that. So your portals of entry is going to be your mucous membrane, your gastrointestinal tract, respiratory tract, and broken skin. So you can see how all of those things kind of go in coordination with the previous patients that I was just saying. Your next one is going to be the means of transportation. So this can either be you if you're not practicing those standard precautions, or which has to do with direct contact. So washing your hands and wearing gloves are very important for your safety and for the patient's safety. Ingestion, so let's say you don't wash your hands after you're done with your patients and you go and eat lunch, that is a way of ingesting germs. And by air, like just people breathing on you, spitting on you while they're talking. So right now, I know that COVID is like a really, it's everywhere. Everyone's talking about it, and that's the reason why we wear masks, is because when we're talking, like when I just said talk, there are microbes that are coming out of your mouth that are very small that you can't see, and that can be spread from person to person. So that's the reason why masks are super important. I understand that a lot of people, I respect everyone's rights and their beliefs, but to be honest with you, if you understand the chain of infection, you'll understand why masks are so important. Okay, so, and then it keeps going round and round and round, and that's the reason why viruses spread so easily because people aren't being safe, they're not washing their hands, you know, not wearing their masks like they're supposed to, and that sort of thing. So it can turn into a bigger thing than you really think. So infection control is really important when becoming a phlebotomist, and you want to make sure that you are being as cautious as possible and as clean as possible. Cleanliness is so important for this position because you want to make sure that not only you're safe, but your patient is safe as well. So with that being said, we're going to talk about proper hand washing techniques. So you want to make sure that you wash your hands under warm water at least 15 to 20 seconds. And so you're going to be washing like this. You're going to wash on your wrists, on both sides. You're going to just keep going until you lather it up really good. You're going to rinse all of that off really good. You want to let your hands hang dry like that until as much water drips off as possible, where it's not dripping anymore. Then you want to make sure that you are using a disposable paper towel. You do not want to use anything reusable because then that can be chain of infection again because somebody else is touching it. Who knows if they washed their hands properly, the whole 9 yards. So washing your hands is super important. And honestly, I am a super major hand washer. I wash my hands all the time. If I feel any type of weird feeling on my hands or anything like that, especially because I have nails, you really want to make sure that you're washing your hands all the time. Anything I would say past this point really does collect a lot of germs underneath it. So it's just something to be aware of. Also, another thing with the chain of infection that a lot of hospitals are not fond of is acrylic nails. Unfortunately, these kind of look like my nails. My nails are almost as long as this, but yeah, for those ladies out there, that is going to be something that you will have to sacrifice. I promise they will make you do it. So yes, honestly, the chain of infection is so easy to prevent that you should be able to follow those steps and be able to know that they're easy to follow and that you want to keep yourself safe and your patient safe as well. So make sure that you're following it, and I promise your day will be much better. I know now because of all the COVID, you know, stuff going on, you're wearing a mask all day at work. So that's one thing. We did not wear masks when I used to work at all. So we only wore them for the isolation rooms. So definitely keep that in mind. There are a lot more standard precautions now than there used to be. And so yeah, it's just something that we all need to follow to keep us safe and to help the spread of infections. So anyways, this pretty much ends my first snippet of my series for chapter 2. There are probably going to be, I'm not sure how many more episodes for chapter 2 there would be, but this is episode 1, and I really hope you guys got some information from that and that it helped you out with your NCCT. And if you have any questions, please drop them below in the comments, and I will see you on the next episode. Thanks for watching. Bye.